My neighbor towed my deployed brother's truck because she said it was an eyesore that lowered her property value. She smirked at me and said, "It's gone, deal with it." She didn't know that touching an active-duty Marine's vehicle is a federal offense, and the Department of Justice was about to turn her life into a foreclosure auction. The silence of the driveway was the loudest sound I had ever heard. It was a Saturday morning, around 8 a.m., and the sun was just starting to burn off the morning mist that clings to the suburban lawns of our neighborhood. I stood there, holding a cup of coffee that was rapidly going cold in the morning air, staring at a patch of oil-stained concrete that was supposed to be occupied. My brother Ryan is a Marine. He is currently deployed overseas in a location I am not allowed to talk about, doing a job I don't want to think about. Before he shipped out 6 months ago, he parked his pride and joy in my driveway. It is a 2020 Toyota Tacoma TRD Pro, customized to the hilt. Matte black paint, lift kit, winch, roof rack. It is a beast of a vehicle. It is his baby. He worked double shifts and saved every penny of his hazard pay to buy that truck. He handed me the keys with a look of pure seriousness and said, "Keep her safe, Mark. Start her up once a week. Don't let anything happen to her." I promised. I swore on our mother's life. And now the truck was gone. Panic, cold and sharp, spiked in my chest. I looked up and down the street, hoping maybe I had moved it and forgotten, hoping maybe he had come home early and surprised me. But the street was empty. Then I saw her. Brenda. Brenda lives next door. She is the self-appointed guardian of the neighborhood aesthetic. She is the kind of woman who measures the height of your grass with a ruler and leaves anonymous notes on your door if your trash can is left out 5 minutes past pickup time. She hated Ryan's truck. She called it the war machine. She said it was aggressive. She said it didn't fit the character of our cul-de-sac. Brenda was standing on her front porch, watering her hanging baskets. She was wearing a floral housecoat and fuzzy slippers. She wasn't looking at her flowers, though. She was looking at me, and she was smiling. It wasn't a friendly smile. It was the smile of a cat that just ate the canary and is currently digesting the feathers. I walked over to the property line. The grass was wet and soaked my socks, but I didn't care. "Brenda," I said, my voice tight, "did you see anything happen to Ryan's truck? It's gone." She didn't stop watering. She hummed a little tune, adjusted the nozzle on her hose, and then finally deigned to look at me. "Oh, good morning, Mark. Yes, I saw it go, about an hour ago." "You saw it go? Who took it? Was it stolen?" "It wasn't stolen," she said, her voice dripping with satisfaction. "It was removed. I had it towed." I blinked. My brain refused to process the sentence. You had it towed from my driveway. That's private property, Brenda. You can't tow a car from my driveway." "Actually," she said, setting down the watering can and crossing her arms, "I can. I checked the HOA bylaws. There is a clause about unsightly vehicles and long-term storage of non-operational machinery visible from the street. That truck hasn't moved in months. It's covered in dust. It's an eyesore. It lowers the property value of every house on this block. So, as a concerned member of the board, I called the towing company to remove the blight." "It works fine," I shouted, losing my cool. "I start it every week. It's my brother's truck. He is in the military. He is deployed." "That's not my problem," Brenda smirked. "He shouldn't have left his junk on your lawn. It's gone, Mark. Deal with it. Maybe now you can plant some hydrangeas there. It would look much softer." She turned her back on me and walked into her house, closing the door with a definitive click. I stood there shaking. The audacity, the sheer, unadulterated entitlement. She had trespassed on my land and stolen a vehicle belonging to a U.S. Marine because she didn't like the color. I ran back into my house. I needed to find the truck. I needed to get it back before it was impounded or damaged. Ryan would kill me. Or worse, he would be heartbroken. I called the local police non-emergency line. I explained the situation. The dispatcher sounded tired. "Sir," she said, "if it's an HOA dispute, it's usually a civil matter. If she is on the board and cites a bylaw, the tow might be technically legal under your community agreement. You'll have to take it up with the tow yard. She trespassed, I argued. She authorized a tow on private land. I can send an officer out to take a report, she said. But your best bet is to call the tow company and get the vehicle released. Fine, I would deal with the police later. Right now, I needed the truck. I went next door. I pounded on Brenda's door until she opened it, looking annoyed. What now? She sighed. Which company? I demanded. Which company did you call? Slater Towing, she said. They are the only ones who would come out on a Sunday morning. Now get off my porch. I ran back home. I looked up Slater Towing. It was a place with a 1.5-star rating on Google. Reviews like they stole my car and criminals were everywhere. I dialed the number. A man answered on the second ring. He sounded like he was eating gravel. Slater's. Hi, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. You towed a black Toyota Tacoma from my address this morning. It was an unauthorized tow. I am the property owner. I need to know where it is. Yeah, we got it, the guy grunted. Authorized by the HOA representative. It's in the yard. It wasn't authorized by the owner, I said. I am coming to get it. Sure, he said. Bring cash. The drop fee is $300. The tow fee is $200. The weekend surcharge is $100. And there is a daily storage fee of $75. So bring about $700. You want me to pay you for stealing my truck? I want you to pay me for doing my job, he said. Don't like it, take it up with the lady. We close at noon. If you aren't here by then, the storage fee goes up tomorrow. Listen to me, I said, my voice dropping to a dangerous whisper. That truck belongs to a United States Marine who is currently deployed in a combat zone. You have towed a protected vehicle. There was a silence on the other end, a long, heavy silence. What did you say? The operator asked. His voice had changed. The arrogance was gone, replaced by a sudden, sharp wariness. I said the owner is active duty, I repeated. Are you familiar with the Service Members Civil Relief Act, or SCRA? Look, buddy, he stammered. I just got a call. The lady said it was abandoned. It is not abandoned, I said. It is protected federal property under the care of his family. If you have touched that truck, if you have damaged it, or if you refuse to release it immediately without charge, you aren't just violating a city ordinance. You are committing a federal crime. The Department of Justice enforces the SCRA. They don't write tickets. They seize businesses. I heard the sound of typing in the background, furious typing. I didn't know, the guy said. The lady didn't say anything about a Marine. Well, now you know, I said. I am coming down there. Do not charge me a dime. And you better pray there isn't a scratch on that paint. Just come get it, he said, his voice shaking. We'll waive the fees, just take it. He hung up. I felt a surge of triumph, but it was quickly replaced by a cold, hard anger directed at Brenda. She had lied to the tow truck driver. She had endangered my brother's property. She had tried to extort me. I wasn't just going to get the truck back. I was going to make sure Brenda never, ever touched another person's property again. I didn't drive to the tow yard immediately. I made one more phone call. Ryan had left me a contact number for his JAG officer, a lawyer in the Judge Advocate General's Corps, just in case there were issues with his lease or his bills while he was gone. I had never used it. I thought it was for emergencies. This was an emergency. I dialed the number. It went to a voicemail. This is Captain Miller, U.S. Marine Corps JAG. Leave a message. Captain Miller, I said. My name is Mark. I am Ryan's brother. I have power of attorney. A neighbor just illegally towed Ryan's truck from my driveway while he is deployed. She claimed it was abandoned. The tow yard is cooperating, but the neighbor is harassing us. I believe this is a violation of the SCRA. I need help. I hung up. I got in my car, my boring sedan, and drove to the tow yard. When I arrived at Slater's Towing, the gate was already open. The guy I spoke to on the phone was standing outside, smoking a cigarette, looking nervous. The Tacoma was parked right in front, untouched. "Here," he said, throwing me the keys before I even got out of my car. "Take it. We don't want any trouble with the military. We support our troops." "Did she sign a work order?" I asked. "Yeah," the guy said. He handed me a carbon copy of a towing authorization form. Signed Brenda last name. She checked the box that said owner notified. She lied. "Can I keep this?" "Take it," he said. "I'm wiping my hands of this. She told us she was the property manager. She committed fraud to get us to tow it." I took the truck. I drove it home. I parked it exactly where it was before. Then I waited. Captain Miller called me back at 2 p.m. He listened to the story. He asked for Brenda's name. He asked for the HOA bylaws. "The SCRA protects active duty members from property seizure without a court order," Captain Miller explained. His voice was calm, professional, and terrifyingly precise. "Towing a vehicle for a civil debt or a bylaw violation constitutes a seizure. Since she did not have a court order, and since she acted in bad faith, this is a violation of federal law. The penalties can be up to $55,000 for the first violation." "$55,000?" I asked. "Plus damages," he said, "and potential imprisonment if we can prove she did it with malicious intent to harass a service member. Did she know he was deployed?" "Yes," I said. "She has a Support Our Troops sticker on her car. She knows exactly where he is. She asked me about him last week." "Okay," Miller said. "I'm going to make some calls. I'll contact the local U.S. Attorney's office. We take this very seriously. Sit tight." I sat tight. I watched Brenda's house. She was moving around inside, probably feeling smug, thinking she had won. She didn't know the truck was back yet because she hadn't looked out the window. At 4 p.m., a car pulled up. It wasn't a police cruiser. It was a black sedan with government plates. 2 men in suits got out. One of them was holding a briefcase. Then a police cruiser pulled up behind them. The local police had been briefed. They weren't here for a civil dispute anymore. They were here to assist federal agents. They walked up to my door first. "Mark," one of the suits asked. "I'm Special Agent Davis with the DOJ. Captain Miller sent us. Can you confirm that is the vehicle?" He pointed to the Tacoma. "Yes, sir." "And that is the neighbor's house?" "Yes, sir." "Thank you, please stay here." They walked across the lawn to Brenda's house. I stood on my porch. I wasn't going to miss this. They knocked on Brenda's door. Brenda opened it. She was holding a glass of wine. She saw the police. She saw the suits. She saw me standing by the truck. Her eyes went to the truck and her jaw dropped. "How did you get that back?" she shrieked at me, ignoring the federal agents on her doorstep. "I authorized that tow. You stole it back." "Ma'am," Agent Davis said, flashing his badge, "we need to speak with you regarding a violation of the Service Members Civil Relief Act." "The what?" Brenda asked, looking confused. "I am the HOA president. I don't care about your acts. That truck is a violation of my rules." "The federal law supersedes your HOA rules, ma'am," Davis said. "You unlawfully seized the property of a deployed U.S. Marine. That is a federal offense." "He's not using it," she yelled. "He's gone. It's just sitting there looking ugly." "Ma'am," the police officer stepped in, "you also committed fraud by signing a tow authorization claiming you were the property manager and that the owner had been notified. The tow company provided us with the paperwork." Brenda went pale. I represented the community interests. That makes me the manager." "You lied on a legal document to facilitate the theft of a vehicle," the officer said. "That is fraud." "I want to speak to my lawyer," Brenda screamed. "You can't do this. I live in a gated community. We have standards." "Your lawyer will be needing this," Agent Davis said. He handed her a thick envelope. "This is a notice of a civil suit filed by the Department of Justice on behalf of the service member. We are seeking maximum statutory penalties." "Penalties?" she whispered. $55,000, Davis said calmly, plus legal fees, plus punitive damages for emotional distress caused to the family of a deployed soldier. Brenda dropped her wine glass. It shattered on the porch, red wine splashing onto her fuzzy slippers. $50,000, she choked. "I don't have $50,000, I'm retired." "Then I suggest you start looking at your assets," Davis said, "because the government always collects." The police officer then handed her a citation. "And this is for the fraud. You have a court date next month. If you miss it, a warrant will be issued." They turned and walked away. Brenda stood there, surrounded by broken glass and wine, staring at the black truck that had started the war. She looked small. She looked defeated. She looked at me. "You called the government on me," she hissed, "over a truck." "You stole a Marine's car, Brenda," I said. "You picked a fight with the wrong battalion." The fallout was slow and painful. The HOA board held an emergency meeting the next night. They voted to remove Brenda as president immediately. They didn't want to be named as co-defendants in a federal lawsuit. They threw her under the bus so fast it left skid marks. They issued a formal apology to me and Ryan, and they even waived our HOA fees for the year as a gesture of goodwill. Brenda tried to fight the DOJ. It didn't go well. Her lawyer told her to settle. The settlement was $40,000 to the government and $10,000 directly to Ryan for the loss of use and distress. She didn't have the cash. Her retirement fund was tied up. She had to list her house. The for sale sign went up 3 weeks later. It was the most beautiful decoration the neighborhood had ever seen. Ryan came home last week. He didn't know the full extent of the story until he got back. I picked him up at the base in the truck. It was freshly washed and waxed. "She looks good," Ryan said, patting the dashboard. "Missed this old girl." "She missed you too," I said. When we pulled into the driveway, Brenda was outside. She was loading boxes into a moving van. She looked 10 years older. She saw the truck. She saw Ryan in his uniform. She stopped. She looked like she wanted to say something, maybe apologize, maybe scream. Ryan got out of the truck. He looked at her. He didn't know her name, really. He just knew she was the neighbor. "Afternoon, ma'am," Ryan said politely, moving out. Brenda flinched. She didn't speak. She just got in her car and drove away. "Weird lady," Ryan said, grabbing his sea bag. "You have no idea," I laughed. Brenda's house sold to a young couple. They have a baby and a golden retriever. They drive a Subaru. They don't care about the height of my grass. I realized something watching Brenda drive away for the last time. Some people think power comes from titles or clipboards or HOA bylaws. They think they can bully the world into submission because they have a little bit of authority in a cul-de-sac. But real power is knowing the rules better than they do. Real power is having the United States government on speed dial. And real power is watching a bully lose everything because they couldn't mind their own business. I still have the carbon copy of the tow receipt. I framed it. It hangs in the garage, right next to Ryan's USMC flag. A reminder that freedom isn't free, but towing a Marine's truck will cost you everything you own. So, dear viewers, was I wrong for bringing down the full weight of the federal government on my nosy neighbor? If you have made it this far and want to see more videos like this, then kindly subscribe and turn on notifications so you may never miss another story like this.